Amber was staying in her uncle's top floor flat on the crest of Sanchez Street west of Dolores Park, and she answered the door in a white tank top with a towel around her neck, her hair damp with some kind of pale blue cream. "Hi," she said brightly, giving Reese a stiff-armed hug. "I don't want to get this stuff on you. I'm bleaching my hair. Come on in." She headed upstairs, and Reese shut the front door behind her and followed Amber up. She was barefoot, and her jeans hung low on her hips. Reese saw the tops of Amber's blue polka-dotted underwear peeking out on top. She caught herself wondering if Amber's bra matched, and then blushed furiously. She tried to focus on climbing the stairs without tripping on her suddenly shaky legs. The flat was furnished in the kind of pristine minimalism that reminded Reese of photographs in decorating magazines. The stairs led into a wide front living room with windows overlooking the street. The floor was laid with broad, honey-colored pine boards, and there were only a few items of furniture. A modern rectangular sofa in a muted nut brown suede, a glass and steel coffee table, a white shag rug beneath. The back of the living room opened into a kitchen with stainless steel appliances and granite countertops. "I'm in the bathroom," Amber called. Reese followed her voice down the long hallway that stretched from the living room toward the back of the flat. The first door was half open and seemed to lead to Amber's bedroom. Reese caught a glimpse of an unmade bed and blue curtains before she moved on. The second door opened into the bathroom, where Amber was bending her head over the tub with a detachable shower head in her hand. "Sorry," Amber said. "This took longer than expected. I was trying to finish up before you got here." "It's okay. I'll be done in a sec. What'd you do this morning?" Not much." Reese watched Amber rinse off her hair, mesmerized by the sight of the blue coloring coming off in the stream of water. The droplets slid down Amber's neck and dripped onto her tank top. Her bra did match. When Amber was finished, she toweled off her head and straightened up. "What do you think?" Her hair was no longer bright pink. It was now white blonde and sticking up all over the place. Reese let out a short laugh. "It's different." Amber frowned. "Do you like it?" Yeah, I like it." It made Amber look older and more sophisticated. Then again, it was hard to look sophisticated with pink hair. Amber turned to the mirror, examining her reflection soberly. She ran a hand through her hair, tussling some of it, smoothing down other bits. "It'll do," she decided. Then she looked down at her wet shirt and laughed. "I made a mess, though." She lifted the bottom of her tank top and pulled it off, brushing past Reese as she exited the bathroom. Reese watched as Amber went into her room and emerged a moment later, tugging on a new, dry tank top. This one was blue, with spaghetti straps. Amber stopped in the hallway, hands on her hips. "What, do I look weird or something?" "No, sorry, She shook her head. "Never mind. You look fine. Do you want something to drink?" Without waiting for an answer, Amber headed back to the front of the flat. "Sure," Reese said, following. "Have a seat," Amber said as she opened the fridge. "We have, let's see, Diet Coke, water, beer, whatever you want." Reese sat on the edge of the sofa. It faced the big picture window, and she had a $1,000,000 view of multicolored homes stacked on the hillside, all the way down to a glimpse of the downtown skyline. Amber joined her with 2 Diet Cokes cradled in one arm and 2 glasses of ice. "Too early for beer?" she said with a grin, and sat down beside Reese, folding her legs up beneath her. "Thanks." Reese picked up one of the cans. It fizzed as she poured it over the ice, and when she took her first sip, the bubbles on her tongue felt like tiny little sparklers. Everything here, the couch, the view, Amber and her new blonde hair, everything was so sharp, so crisp. She felt as though she suddenly had super-powered vision. She looked at Amber, who was studying her with a little smile on her lips. She was wearing pink lip gloss. It shone in the light pouring through the windows. It would be tacky, slightly sweet, Reese thought, like candy. The thought made her feel warm all over, and she took another sip of her soda. "So," Amber said conversationally, "what do you think of the view?" It's great. Yeah, I love it. I could just sit here staring out the window for hours. Silence descended on them, and Reese became aware of the sound of a clock ticking in the distance. She heard Amber's breath beside her, the rustle as she shifted on the couch, leaning forward to pour her own soda, the ice rattling in the glass. She even heard the sound of Amber swallowing. Amber said, "I'm glad you could come over." "Me too," Reese said. Was this her cue to offer to play tour guide? The idea of taking Amber to Alcatraz or Fisherman's Wharf now seemed completely ridiculous. She wouldn't want to go there. Amber was watching her. Reese thought she could see the view reflected in her gray eyes. Amber leaned forward. "I wasn't sure if you were into girls." The words snapped back at Reese. "What?" Amber smiled slightly. "Girls. I thought so. But maybe not." Reese felt as though her head was suddenly inhabited by 1,000 buzzing bees. All she could hear was static in her ears, trying to drown out the emotions erupting within her. Confusion, denial, the delirious sensation of seeing Amber bend toward her with her mouth slightly open, her hand stretched out. And then Amber had simply placed her frosty glass on the coffee table, barely brushing her hand against Reese's knee as she sat back again. "I'm straight," Reese managed to say, her heart pounding so loudly she thought Amber must surely hear it. Amber quirked one eyebrow up. She hadn't bleached her brows. They were perfectly shaped dark brown arches. She leaned forward again and Reese almost backed away, but Amber was only reaching for her soda. She took it out of Reese's cold, damp fingers and put it on the table next to her own, the glass clinking gently. "I don't think you're straight," Amber said. And part of Reese was simply shocked by her directness. "Who even said that?" "What?" Reese said again. She had to work on being more articulate. Amber took her hand and Reese let her lace her fingers with hers. "You heard what I said." She pulled at her, like a little girl tugging on the string of a balloon that has floated nearly all the way up to the sky. And just like that balloon, Reese felt herself drawn downward, half floating, half sinking, toward Amber. The lip gloss did taste like candy. It was slick and hard at the same time, and as soon as their lips touched, Reese thought she was going to fall apart from shaking so much. Amber laughed a little, releasing Reese's hand and cupping her face to keep her steady. Reese felt like an awkward schoolgirl. She didn't know where her hands were supposed to go. Her body was bent at a strange angle, and she wanted to move it. She scrambled, not wanting to stop kissing Amber. She twisted around, and her legs smashed against the coffee table. "Hey, be careful," Amber said laughingly against her mouth, and she pulled Reese's arms around her waist. And her body was soft and curved and warm and full of breath and heat. Her mouth opened, and her tongue was cold from the icy soda, which was so odd, because everywhere else she was undeniably, unmistakably hot. And then Amber, pushing her back ever so gently, said softly, "See, I told you. You're not straight."